Hey guys, how's it going? Xylem Gaming here, and welcome back to another game time of Ironman Challenge advice. Uh, Basically what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be explaining each class as it needs to be set up. Actually, I will not be doing that all in one video. Instead, I'll be explaining each separate class in a separate video. So that way everybody who needs to maybe perhaps get advice on what it is that they need to do for each class will get that advice. I'm going to start with Rogue because I've already got my character to level 10 here, and I will show you just basically some of the essential stuff that you will need in order to be successful on a Rogue Ironman challenge. Now, along with any Ironman challenge character, you need to first off be wary of health versus level ratio. So, with that being said, something like this, you gotta make sure that you are ready to go on whatever it is that you're about to take quest on. Be it that you're going to take quest on Nightweb Spider Venom or something along the lines of Vigorous Wolf Howler. So, I have my class character right here, as you can see, but I would actually like to go through first off the selection of why I chose an undead. So I will be doing that. So if you will give me a second, I will be right back and you'll be able to see why I chose this character and how it's supposed to fit in with all the plot. Alright? Be right back. Okay, so I'm back now. Now, what you have to look at when you're doing this challenge is not necessarily, well, not customizations, but you have to look at what kind of racials that these individuals have. Now, I'm going to be doing this for Rogue, and like for an example, the human, increases versatility, bonus reputation given, can break out of effects that remove or limit player control. Now, a lot of people would say that Alliance has better racials overall in general than the Horde. And to the setup extreme, I would say yes. But that would be more for a player versus player basis. I wouldn't consider that a 100% guarantee. In fact, I would say the only useful thing for human right now is the increased versatility setup. So, with that being said, if you think that think that having a minor damage increase is good for you, then that's okay. But I'm going to go through all of the classes that can be this place. Rogues, for dwarves, I would say is actually probably more essential. Takes on stone form, increased effect of critical strikes, and resistance to frost damage. So these guys have pretty useful racials just in general overall. The archaeological fragment setup is not so much because you can't really use that. You cannot have archaeology. Alright, so the next thing I'd have to look is Night Elf. This one, I'd have to say, is probably the most difficult, not most difficult, but most useful Alliance class. Shadow Meld in Night Elf form is be able to essentially have a second invisibility ready to go just in case you get into a lot of danger. Now, that being said, if you use Shadow Melt right on top of the mob that you just attacked, and it's in that general area, it'll attack you again, and that'll be useless. But, as it stands, this one is pretty good setup, as Mel is more difficult to hit. Faster movement while stealth, and faster attacks. Now, that's only at night though, so keep that in mind as you will. And more critical chances during the day. It's kind of interesting how that works. Going on the gnome, increased resource pool, it's like a 5, like it's a 5% increase, so you get 105 energy instead of 100, and that's okay, but I mean, that's whatever. May escape altering speed effects. This does not count for days, keep that in mind. When you get attacked and you get dazed, it is not considered the slow effect that you can just cancel out. So, that's kind of useless. Engineering skills is useless. And haste, and it increases your haste by 1%, which is okay. Going on to Worgen. can periodically move quickly. That is pretty good. 40% increase is kind of like a sprint before you actually get your sprint. But that is pretty useful in its basic form. Nature and shadow damage, yeah, okay. Alright. Critical chance increase, that's okay too. But really the only thing that I would choose a Worgen for is the increased speed movement. Then we go on to Pandoran. Puts their enemies in hand to sleep. If this is something maybe along the lines that you're really close encounter and you need just a little bit more time to finish something off, put something to sleep, bandage yourself, and then go back up. Which, by the way, I'll be talking more about bandages, but otherwise it's not really useful. The inner peace setup, twice as much as rested experience, okay, but you would have to really log out for a really long time to not be able to play this. So do what you will with this one. I will go on to Rogue now. Enrage, increased damage, resistance to stun effects. This is for Oryx. I mean, yeah, alright, that's alright, but really I wouldn't really pick an Oryx for this. Now, I'll go to Undead in a moment. Troll, Berserking, and increased attack speed. Now, this one is pretty good. I won't lie, Troll was the one I had originally thought about. Increased attack speed is essential when it comes to certain types of class speculation, especially for rogues. It's kind of like a sweeping strikes before you get the sweeping strikes, and sweeping strikes is a 40% increase of speed attacks for a rogue, so that's kind of good. Reduced duration of movement and parrying effects. Again, this does not count for days. Days is still a setup that could go against you. Blood Elf, moving on. Let's see here. Alright, as the restorers, it can restore resources such as mana and energy. Okay, sure, that's alright. And may silence opponents nearby. Alright, that's about a 1 or 2 second silence for the Arcane Torrent. That's what it's called. And then the resistance to arcane damage is, well, you can take that as you will. Enchanting skills is completely useless. Goblins can rocket jump forward. Alright, so you can jump out of danger. The downside to that is that you cannot control the jump. You can move, once you jump, you move 20 yards in that general direction. It's a mini heroic leap, but in the process you could jump into another mob, so take that for what you will. Enemy launch rockets, it's a minor rocket launch that can also be pretty useful in essence. Receives vendor discounts, so if you're having trouble making gold, then goblins would be something along the lines that you would choose for. Not necessarily because they get a large increase. It used to be a large increase, but it's better than in that. Periodic banks are pretty useful, and the haste increase can be pretty useful as well. It's only a 1% increase, just like gnomes. Really, goblins are probably one of the more useful classes. I would say that goblins probably have a pretty good setup. Now, I chose Undead because can remove fear, sleep, and charm. No mobs really do that, but it's okay. That one's kind of useless, but I'm not going to really get into details about that. This is why I did this. May consume corpses to regain health and mana. So, Cannibalize. This is an ability that if you're fixing to maybe potentially face something that's on the go, you can have a couple of seconds to cannibalize something and restore your health before you go out. Cannibalize is actually a powerful spell or a powerful racial that stacks and scales over time. So you'll basically see it the way a lot of your other abilities will as well. Can drain health from enemies. They have a touch called Touch of the Grave, where whenever they attack, it does an extra damage dealing as well as drains and gives it to you. So that's also very useful. Resistance to shadow damage it's okay, but these are the main two. And also, as an undead, you can have underwater breathing eternally. So there is no discrimination. You can stay underwater forever and you won't die. So those are the main reasons I chose an undead. That, and I really like the quest starting zone. You can take that into account if you want. But I like Tyrus Fallglades, I like Silverpine Forest, and when it starts to get the Hillsbrad foothills, I kind of switch over to Kalimdor, go to Stone Talon Mountains and such. But yes, that is basically why I picked this character. So with that being said, let's sign back in to his setup. Alright, and I'm already being attacked here. So now for rogues, there's a couple of other things that I'd like to mention. Rogues, for one, I believe personally are the most difficult, challenging uh, class to play in the game when it comes to the Ironman challenge. Reason being, they don't get their bypass armor like they usually do. It doesn't just come to them anymore. Whenever you take out the specializations and whenever you take out the ability to be able to use burst of speed, they're not that mobile. Alright, they have sprint at level 26 right here. That's it. That's all they've got. That's all their speed increases. So, with that being said, rogues really have a very difficult time up until they get to about around level 34. When it gets to level 34, when you get vanish, it becomes easier. But until then, it's just a difficult get-go start. That's why I chose a rogue, because I like having difficulty. So, but for some people, this may not be a great class for them. So, if you are looking for a class that might be more beneficial, more useful to you, you might want to just go switch to something a little bit more easier, like a hunter, maybe a shaman even, perhaps a druid. Druids are well known for getting up to level 100 without really needing much assistance from anything, just because of their healing abilities and such. But yeah, those are your classes that you want to choose if you are looking for an easier class. But this is for the much more hardcore Iron Man characters who wish to be like, oh, here's a rogue. Alright, so now I will go into a little bit of a rant about first aid. First aid, you will want this for a rogue. I don't care who you are. Alright? The thing is, you get one healing ability as a rogue. You get recuperate. That's it. And you will want those combo points to be able to kill mobs quicker and be able to not have to be in combat all the dang time. I know this from experience. I've leveled up a rogue. I haven't gotten very far in a rogue Ironman challenge. I did die just because of, through no fault of my own, but I won't complain about that. But yeah, that is a must. You must have first aid. It is not a question. It'll save your life. It'll make it quicker to where you can move on around and do other things. And so yes, that is one thing that you'll want to watch out for. Another thing you'll want to watch out for as a rogue, watching out for killing rares. Now, you see here, I just killed a rare. You see that I was able to do that. But there are some rares out there that is considered bait and switch. What does that mean? You get in there, you start to kill them, and it's considered bait, because then two other mobs jump out at you and they slaughter you instantly. I know. I've went after a rare before, and I was stupid enough to do so. It doesn't end well if it's set up like that. Alright? Number 3, for rogues, have an escape route. Always have somewhere to where you can go. The funny thing is that you can carve a path for yourself. If you think you're going to be in danger, what you need to do is you need to kill the mobs that are trapping a path for you outside. So, if you're in a situation, maybe you're in a mine somewhere, you need to make sure all the mobs are down and ready to go. Or down and out for the count. So that way you can be ready to go for the next part of it. Alright? Or if you're stuck in, like, maybe in this forest, and you're having trouble going with a spider, kill the previous spider beforehand. I mean, you will want to make sure that you have an escape route. That's basically what I'm trying to say. If you don't have that escape route, you will mess up, unless you're really good at getting away, which is impossible almost at a mobility potion. Without mobility. Keep in mind, you don't get to use potions either. Speed boost potions are out. Anything along those lines that would otherwise get you that increase is gone. So, you want to watch out for those kind of things. Alright? So, the next couple of things I wanted to go over was... Oh yeah, there's one more thing before I go on to class abilities. Throw. Throw is an important an essential part of your new rogue rotation. Throw is essentially that ability that's going to save you from having mobs jump all over your butt. Alright, so what do I mean by this? Well, I was in a crypt earlier on in my challenge where there were mob after mob after mob standing right on top of each other. if I attacked one of those mobs just by going up straight melee, all the other 3 mobs that were there would have attacked me at once. Alright, what did I do instead? I went over, killed one mob on the side, used throw to get 2 more mobs and took them out, and then finished off the final one on the other side of the room. This kind of strategy is not used for rogues, because when you're in BOAs, you don't recognize that. You think that, oh, it's easy to go in, just take out everything, especially when you have your new specializations. You have sub rogue, you get hammer edge, which is the bleed ability, the assassination rogue gets the multi-strike, and then the combat's the all your fun stuff. But as a rogue pure, as in you don't have any abilities, that's going to be something you have to watch out for all the time. And when I say that, I mean you've got to make sure, just basically, that you've got the best possible scenario in mind. Alright, so now knowing all of that, we're going to move on to abilities that would probably be most important to you. Alright, so we're going to start up here. Ambush, evasion, poison, and eviscerate and stealth. All these abilities that I'm showing you right now that are not highlighted, or that are highlighted rather, are going to be important abilities. So you need to make sure you have these ready to go. Alright, ambush increases damage, and stealth gives 2 combat points, like that. Signature strike and such. So yeah, that's your basic, these are your basic important abilities. When you get later on, sap will be an essential part of your ability if you really need to have if for some reason you don't want to kill mobs, you can sap one, and if you get in trouble, you can run past the sap mob. Just keep in mind, sap does have a timer on it before it goes out. So that is one thing you'll want to watch out for. Another ability is the slice and dice ability. This is what I was talking about earlier. Increased speed by 30% movement. This one kind of will just be that DPS increaser that you might need to get on with your life. Alright, that wasn't supposed to happen. But that is basically one of those abilities that you'll need to use in a situation where you need a faster setup. Pickpocket is not really that useful. Recuperate. Recuperate is useful. You can use Recuperate to recover some life while you're in combat, but like I said, I recommend having band-aids for out-of-combat characterization in case something comes charging at you, or having Cannibalize ready. Keep in mind, Cannibalize is only used for humans and undead. Kick is okay. It's not a priority ability. You can use it to interrupt mobs if they are hard hitting you with spells, but you know, kick is only useful in certain sets. Like these vanguards in this fire, it wouldn't really be useful, but in other situations, yeah, it would. Alright? Crippling poison, big one. Crippling poison slows down your enemy, so if for some reason you need to kite 2 mobs around, then you've got one slowed down, the other one can be set up and ready to go. That's level 20. Gouge is also a pretty good one if you need to incapacitate an enemy for a temporary time while you deal with another one. That's good too. Alright? There you go, Lillian. Take them all out. Alright? Now, that's only an incapacitated for 4 seconds, so you just gotta keep that in mind while you're doing that. Alright? Sprints. Sprints is a good combination with crippling poison. An increased 70% speed, I cannot speak, but an increased 70% speed for 8 seconds. And it is usable while stealth, so that is one of your abilities that will come in handy, especially when you use crippling poison on something to slow down an enemy. Alright? Moving on. Distract is not really that useful. I wouldn't use it that much anyway. It doesn't really help you out other than just make an enemy look the other way, and it doesn't even really do much for you there in that consensus. Alright, wound. Alright, cheap shot, good 4-second stun, gives 2 combo points. You need stealth, so this would be combined with something along the lines of ambush whenever you get later on. This is level 30 stuff now. Switchblade's Cunning is naturally going to be good. Wound Poison's not going to be that great. You can just move on from that. There's going to be a Vanish. That is going to become the point where it starts to get easier. Level 34 is where you get that ability to be able to vanish away. And I recommend, if you're going to use Vanish, wait until the 2 minutes goes down before you attack again. I know, It seems tedious, but you have to just keep in mind, alright, what do I need to do in order to survive? Because this is all about survival. You're not necessarily trying to, I don't know, do this as quick as possible. There is no time limit on this, as far as I know. So, yes, this is also a 3-second improved stealth. So, in other words, if something is hitting you, like it's a tick mark, then you have time to sprint away before it deteriorates you from your stealth position. Blind is another ability. Blind's the target. Yeah, so this is one of those abilities that you can also use with sap. If like there's 3 mobs right next to each other, you just need one. Sap, blind. You need to kill the blind one after you take out the sap, which is why band-aids also comes into play. You can just bandage yourself up and be ready for the next fight. Alright, kidney shot, pretty useful. Just keep in mind of your combo points and if you'll need them or not. Alright, feint. No, not really. Garrett, silence ability. It's okay if you want to use a tick mark, then that's okay. That's a good one for that. And then keep in mind, you don't get another ability for 10 levels. 10 levels. Cloak of Shadows is your next ability. This is level 58. The magic immunity, silencer, like if you have bleeds on you or you have ticks over time that isn't physical damage, then this will be useful. Fleet-footed, movement speed increased by 15 at level 62, so that will be a very useful setup. Preparation will become like your best friend by the end of this all. Shiv, it's okay. It's not really gonna help you out much, except it might. With Shiv, it will help with your crippling poison. You will reduce the target speed by 70%. So I guess you could say it's a pretty useful ability when you get on. Shadow Concealment's useless. Trickster's Trade, really useless. Crimson Tempest, pretty much useless. And Smoke Bomb, useless. So really, your last useful ability will be used at level 74. Alright? So, like I said, that is one of the interesting things of a rogue. Guys, this is not like a very difficult challenge for a rogue. It's just you gotta make sure that you're very wary, alright? Because you have no heals. Your class has a hit rating that is significantly decreased just based off your fact you don't get agility from your armor and such, and yeah, it gets tedious later on. My advice, be patient, make sure that you have the time and effort to be able to keep yourself cooperated, steady, and secure. And if you do all that, then you'll be fine for this challenge. Sadly, there are some people who can't seem to understand that they cannot play the game like they usually do. That rotation is not going to be beneficial to you. I know it's completely a different playing setup. I never use throw on my rogue. Never. Unless it's absolutely essential. Because burst of speed is not available. It's a specialization. So yes. That is basically what you'll need to know about a rogue. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope this helped. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them inside of the comments below. I will get to them as soon as possible. And I hope that you enjoy playing your rogue for this challenge. And so, I'm signing off. And as always, remember to stay saucy. Let's get started. So the Ironman challenge is essentially a challenge that, in order to get you interested, I'm going to go ahead and just open up and say, have a little bit of introduction to this. So